Guys, welcome. In this video we're going to take a look at for loops. These can be used to repeatedly run a block of code. We'll take a look at a very simple example and then a somewhat more sophisticated example. Alright, so open up a templated project as before. And here's the basic code. Okay, you're going to say for and then int I equals 0, semicolon. Then I is say less than 5 and then I plus plus. So this is the header of the loop. Then you will add a block. And then you can repeat some chunk of code such as console.writeLine here, like that. Okay, and then you can say the value of I is, and then you can say this, and then comma, and then I, and then semicolon. So this will display the value of I, and at runtime this placeholder will be replaced with I, okay, the value of I. So now what we're going to do is this. Let's go to debug in step into, and you'll see the execution of the loop very carefully. The example I'm showing you here is the very simple one at first, okay? It's not very useful, it's just illustrating a basic concept. So let's go through the process of doing this nonetheless. Let me grab a window on top. See, there we go, and now let's run this. So take a look. First it goes into that step in the loop, right? Then it checks the condition, then it prints. Then goes up to the top, it takes I. That plus plus, remember, means add. So right now, as you can see, the value of I is 1, but it began as 0, so it's been added already. And then it checks the condition, prints. Goes back to the top, it's going to add, it's going to check the condition, print. Go back to the top, add, check the condition, print. See that? I plus plus, check condition, print. I plus plus, check condition. And the condition fails, and then code exits. And that's it, the loop is done running. So remember here that this will run the first time, then this is checked, then it goes into the body, then it executes, then the next time it's going to come up here, check that, then check the condition, and then go looping that way. Alright, as you saw with the debugger. So if you go debug and start without debugging fast, you see it tells you the value of I is 0, the value of I is 1, all the way through 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 such printings. Alright, so that's that. Now, obviously this is the most useful thing in the world, so let's take this, comment this one out. I'll leave this here for reference. I will not actually make further use of it. What instead we are going to do is I will paste some code down below, and I will walk you through its construction. And this is a little more, okay, so you're going to say console.writeLine, and then you'll say here enter string, colon, semicolon. Alright, then at the next stage what you're going to do is say string s equals, and then you will say console.readLine, like this, close with a semicolon. Then you will say console.writeLine, and then you'll say here enter length of line, colon, close with a semicolon. Then you'll say here integer length of line equals, and then you'll say int dot parse, and then console.readLine, close with a semicolon. Okay, there we go. Now at the next stage, let me delete this. There it goes. We are going to use a for loop in a different way. So far the code that we have will display a prompt, accept a string, then it's going to accept the length of a line segment, basically. So it's going to say you want to take a long line and break it into a sequence of smaller lines. Alright, and then integer length of line accomplishes that. That's the value the user inputs. That says, for example, I want 10 characters to a line. Okay, so I want the long line broken into several smaller vertically stacked lines. So you're going to type for inti equals 0, semicolon, then you're going to say I dot s dot length, like this, less than the length of the string, and then you're going to say here I, and then you'll say plus equals. Plus equals means add the length of the line to the value of I. Okay, so length of line, like this. Alright, so that's that. So in other words, I equals 0 will be like the starting index, right? Then you have the length of the line. I is less than it. Remember, we can't reach the length of a line. We can only reach the index at that end. So remember, the length could be 10, but the stopping index would be 9. That's why I have it less than as that length. And then we'll go through the string in terms of what the user specifies up here as the length of the line. Alright, so with that in place, let's continue here. You're going to say if I plus length of line is less than s dot length, like this. Okay? That's it. So if we are within the string, essentially, correct? We are going to display, and we'll say console.writeLine, and then s dot substring, and then I, comma, and length of line, close with a semicolon. There you go. Okay? So this will grab a substring of length specified by the user stored inside length of line, display it, and then it will write a new character, a new line character, and then we'll begin from the next line under that. Now the other possibility might be that this is not so, so now you're going to say else if here, and now you can say something like this just to show you that you can. I plus length of line, say that is greater than or equal to s dot length minus 1, like this. So imagine we are beyond it, so to speak, right? Okay. If that is the case, we'll do it this way. We'll write console.writeLine, and then s dot substring, and then I, okay, the starting index, and the number of characters to be determined will be s dot length minus I, and close out the semicolon like that. Okay, notice that an else is not really necessary. There you go, so let's delete this. Okay, so this code is definitely more sophisticated. You've seen the essence, the essential characteristic of a for loop. Now you're seeing it applied in different contexts, just so you see that you can. Let's give it a build. Alright, let's take a look here. Debug and start without debugging. So let's enter a string. We're going to say this is the best day of our lives because it's the only day we truly have, and then hit enter. Enter the length of the line, say 5, and then hit enter, and you see what it's done here. It's broken this long line into vertically stacked lines. Each of these lines is only 5 characters, you see, with a blank included as a character, essentially. There you go. Now here, press any key to continue. So debug and say start without debugging again. Let's do this one more time. This is the day of our lives because it's the only one we have. And now we are going to say here enter length of line. Make that bigger than that. Make it 245. You see, in that case it also works, so it doesn't crash. Okay. Now let's do this one more time. Debug and step without debugging. Alright, make a short one like this and hit enter, 0 and hit enter. Okay, in that case nothing happens, you see. Debug and there you go. So I'm giving you this core of code. Feel free to modify, extend, make improvements, and so on. Okay, so remember, this is the essential characteristic of a for loop. Repeat blocks of code, and now you've seen it applied in a different context with strings, in a way that allows you to decompose a long string into several simpler ones that you can then stack vertically, and that's it. So thank you very much, and I will see you in another video.